South Africa take a slight lead on day two of the first test against India, which saw Dean Elgar scoring a century and a debut half century from David Bellingham at Centurion. It was a day of test cricket that was admirable from a South African point of view by two particular batters, or you could say some signs from one other batter as well. But it's not necessarily the best scenario that we would have hoped for as a fan base for this test. We're going to dig in. We're going to discuss the game and discuss what happened, discuss everything that took place in Centurion on day two of this first test. So we will get into that very, very soon. But before we get going, before we get started, please subscribe to this channel, click that notification bell for all future videos. I'd also like you guys to please subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And we have launched something very exciting that I would like you guys to help us out with, and that is the Cricket Fanatics Magazine Business Corner. It's something that we started, and we very recently we've set up the Business Corner to help businesses market their business products and services effectively and affordably to a cricket audience. If you guys want to do so, we are the only viable option to do that. So please get involved, get more details about this, book an appointment to have a conversation with us, a free consultation to discuss how we can help you guys move forward. So get your bookings ready. Send this to your friends, your family, your businesses, the entrepreneurs that you know. Link is on the screen as well as in the description as well. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. A lot to discuss on today's daily show. A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with day two of the first test between South Africa and India. So, what took place on today's match? The Proteas got the early wickets they intended in the morning session, but not without allowing KL Rahul to reach a consecutive century at Centurion. It was a brilliant knock from the guy. He really took the attack to South Africa, to South Africa, and really put us on a little bit on the back foot. Made us worry a little bit because South Africa did end up taking out the tail, or one of the batters in the tail quite easily. Could see picked up the wicket of Siraj, but it was the wicket of Rahul that was obviously the crucial one. He went on to score 101 until Nande Berger bowled a beautiful in swinger to remove him. And that session or inning, not that session, but that innings ended. India got to 245 when Berger bowled at that point, when Berger bowled Rahul. And South Africa needed to survive the rest of the first session in conditions that favored the Indian bowlers perfectly. And that's something that I said earlier on yesterday's show. What was going to be the approach? I said it very carefully on yesterday's review that we need to try and get the wickets early and then try to survive the first session of the day. And then the pitch will get a little bit easier to bat on. And then we can start piling on the runs, take a lead. And then on day three, with the sun obviously going to be baking on the pitch, might get a little bit easier to bat on. We can then start to take our lead quite far, declare at the time that we think is necessary, and then put India into bat again and try to utilize the conditions to get wickets again so that we can win this match. So there's a lot of strategy and decisions, important decisions that are going to be made in this particular match. So we got the desired India got the desired start in South Africa's innings. After Markram was out for 5, Siraj was finding late swing that snicked the outside edge of his forward defensive block. He tried to come forward. They set him up quite nicely, and he ended up nicking off Markram. Then Ding Alga and Tony DeZorzi survived until lunch, which was a crucial time in the game. A very mature innings from Tony DeZorzi, I must say, until that point. South Africa posted 49 for 1. And after lunch, the roller did its job, evened out the wicket a bit. The surface was a little bit easier to bat on, although two quick wickets were taken by India in that session. First, it was Tony DeZorzi and then Keegan Peterson for two. Now, Keegan Peterson is something that we maybe need to talk about. He hasn't necessarily been performing since that last series against India for South Africa, and it was a type of wicket and a type of situation where he needed to just be a little bit more patient instead of trying to play his shots too quickly. And I think that maybe was his downfall in today's game. But I'm not going to talk too much about the negatives because there was a major positive. Someone really proved that fairy tales do come true, and that was Dean Alga. There was a solid partnership between Alga and David Bedingham that got South Africa back on track. The It was, like I said, a fairy tale session where Alga scored 111 in this period, scoring his 14th century in his final game, obviously at Centurion. And David Beddingham's was a 32 not out by the time the session ended. This is obviously by T. 145 runs were scored in 33 overs at an economy of 4.39. Not economy, a run rate, sorry, of 4.39. It was absolutely fantastic from South Africa in that session. They really batted with determination, grit, and took South Africa into a very decent position. And we were at that point in the game, we were could have said South Africa was definitely on top. But then after tea, South Africa did go into the lead, but slightly. Algo continued to rack up his runs at a steady pace. But the session's highlight was Bedingham reaching his debut half century. Unfortunately, he lost his wicket on 56 of 87 balls, with SA trailing by 1 run. He was bowled beautifully by Siraj, like it was a fantastic delivery. But I did question at that point is the light and how well he actually saw the ball, because I don't know how much the light changed between the time that David Bedingham lost his wicket and the time that they came off the field. I don't know how much darker it actually really got. But the umpires kept them on. And then Calvareno lost his wicket as well. He first played a beautiful cover drive to take South Africa into the lead. And then he played a loose shot that he should have never played so close to his body and was dismissed. And South Africa were down to 49 for 5 at that point, which was quite a shocking thing for me from a South African point of view. I don't understand why he would have played that shot at that time. It wasn't the right decision and wasn't the right move by Calvarena, in my opinion. But Marco Jansen stuck around with Dean Alga and Alga ended on 140 of 211 balls, with South Africa on 256 for 5 and a lead of 11 because of bad light, of course, which stopped play. So where are we sitting at the moment? Well, we're not in the doom and gloom situation that some fans were speaking about yesterday in the live chat. The match is kind of played out the way I thought it would play out. I had belief in the new guys, and I had belief in Dean Alga. I thought this guy's mentality is ridiculously good. When the team really needs him, when he knuckles down, when he really wants to score runs, he does. And when the team really needs him, he does. Temba Bavuma didn't come out after when he was supposed to. But that is something that uh, was a little bit of an inconvenience for South Africa that he couldn't come out to the middle and play, because we would now need his batting performance, definitely in this match. There's a lot of work that's going to have to be done in that second inning, in that first innings, on in the particularly the first session on day 3. Marco Jansen's going to really have to put in an absolutely crucial performance, something similar that he did with the West Indies, for us to really um, take control of this game and get into a lead. I think a lead of 100 would be enough from a South African point of view. I think that would be a good lead to take into to let India go in bat again. But it's going to be a lot of hard work. Let's see how the morning, if they, how much morning sun there will be, and how much that will alter the pitch to make it a little bit easier for South Africa to bat in the morning session. Because I do think that at the beginning, as it starts to wear down a little bit, I think it will be easier to bat in that first session. But as the sun bakes a little more on the pitch as the day goes along, I think cracks will start to appear perhaps. Then we're going to get that uneven bounce again. And then it will fall back into South Africa's favor with the ball. And it will be a lot more difficult for India to bat in their second innings if that happens, if it plays out in that way. Now, we are predicted to have sun tomorrow. Um, Partly cloudy, not necessarily very overcast. So a full day of cricket is predicted for tomorrow's match. But I have to say, congratulations to David Bedingham today. I think he was fantastic in his approach. He balanced attack and defense beautifully. And I really wish that he could have gone on to score a big score. I think that is something that I think would have been fantastic and it would have been the perfect day from a South African point of view. Let me read out your comments and see what you guys have had to say. Gaurav says Kyle and Peterson wasted their chance. We could have gone with 4 down instead of 5, 100%. Top knock from Dean and a healthy 50 from Bedingham. Sarath says Bavuma should take a long break from international cricket, focus on improving fitness, and go back to domestic and work on his game and earn his spot in playing 11. It's high time. Not in Test cricket, bro. I don't know what you're talking about when it comes to Test cricket. He won us the series against West Indies. So he's informing Test cricket. He might have gotten injured and pulled up on a hamstring. I'm hearing that it's a different hamstring to the one that he pulled in the World Cup. So that's not something necessarily you can control. A hamstring injury can happen to the fittest of players. It can happen at any single time. We need to lead 50 runs at least because fourth innings it will be tough. Ayanda says you can tell Alga is a class act 100%. Lawrence says what a knock from Dean Alga. Without his and Bellingham's runs, we would have found ourselves way short. Dean carrying his lineup, so happy for him, very happy for him. I was, like I said, quite sad that he's retired because I would have liked to maybe see him play in New Zealand because I think we would have needed him at the top of that order. Sarath says David Bellingham should be playing in T20 as well. What do you think, Khalid? I think he needs to do a little bit more in T20 first, domestically, maybe, for him to just get. There's other players as well that are doing well already in T20 domestic cricket that should be called up. High class from Dean Alga says Tex. Gaurav says Bavuma should come and play. We need him in this innings. Is really important. And I think let's see if he does and I hope he can. I hope he's able to. Even if he can give us quick 20, 30 runs, it will be a massive, massive help. We need a lead of 100 at least. That's what I'm thinking at the moment where we're sitting. Dick says Bedingham is our future. Gaurav says we made India score too many runs in the end. Yeah, but KL Rahul was just fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Bedingham is like Carlos Mark War a hybrid. Ideally, David Bedingham should be our long-term number 5. I agree. I think that David Bedingham should be our number 5. Tex says Dean absolutely cannot retire after the series. Must go to New Zealand. Shukri should make this sure at any cost. It's already been announced. I don't think there's any way back now. Texas Bedingham reminds me of Markram. Ayanda says pity Alga is in his last series. Candice says, how long KP can be in this team just based on one good series against India? Guy is not young anymore, averages mid-20s. Yeah, KP is running out of chances, I think. There are other players that can also come that have been doing great domestically that could also come into the setup and into this lineup. He needs to start performing and scoring hundreds for South Africa if he wants to try and make it into this team and solidify his spot in this team. He had a very good series against India, but since then hasn't been the same. And we're going to need him to put on the runs. That's the only way you're going to keep your position in the team. Unfortunately, um, his dismissal today and Carl's dismissal today, they it wasn't a good look for both of them. Um, it was both poor shot selections on a wicket that we know is going to be tricky. I felt that they needed to take their time a little bit more and just wait it out, leave a couple of deliveries. There's still time tomorrow to bat. It was about getting in there and surviving with Dean Algar as long as possible. Even if you have to go in a little bit into your shell, um, uh, because that's what the situation was required um, from of them. That's what the situation required of them from them. Lawrence says the less I say about KP and Kelsey's missiles, the better. Poor shot selection and game awareness to give the reasons. Yeah, like it's like you read my mind. Um, Ayanda Markram needs to ship or ship out. Um, it's still I'm not sure about that. Good against the West Indies. For a long time, being one of our top performers in Test cricket when the rest of the team was failing. So I wouldn't quite ship Markram out quite yet. What an innings played by real fighter cricketer Dean Algar. Fantastic innings. Um, Markram averages over 50 this year. Yeah, exactly. David Bedingham, man, he looks calm, composed, man. He is. He has all the shots, and he lost. Huh? And he has lots of time. He has lazy elegance about him. Very well played, David Bedingham, in his maiden Test match against quality. Yes, I agree. I think it was a fantastic performance by him. Peterson and Verreina threw their wickets away. Agreed. Um, man, Keegan, Peterson, and Verreina really wasted their batting opportunities, man. Um, oops. Gaurav says towards the end we lost momentum. Definitely did. Berger and Bedingham, fantastic debut so far. Yes. Western Province should be proud of the players that they have produced now that are getting opportunities at the highest level. So far, so good. Lawrence says Bedingham really commanded his space at the crease really well, in complete control, top player and top knock. Now, there's going to be a second innings, and it's a chance for those two players to, or those or three players to redeem themselves. I wouldn't say Tony needs to redeem himself because I think he batted really well until that 28, but I think now we need to see him obviously convert in Test cricket. He's done it now in ODI cricket, 50 and 100. We'd like to see it now in Test cricket. Um, and I think there's a second innings for the rest of the batters to now put up their hands. If the rest of the batters can now take the pressure off Dean Algar, that would be brilliant because he's done the job almost on his own in this particular match with David Bedingham. So he deserves a little bit of a leeway in the second innings where the rest need to now put up their hands. At least in Test cricket, you have a second chance to right your wrongs. And that's if India can take a lead that is enough for them of a chance for them to be able to redeem themselves. That's another thing as well. Lawrence says Bedingham really commanded his space at the crease really well, in complete control, top player and top knock. It was a fantastic knock. And that's why we've been calling for his name on this channel for a few years now. Man, I can really say that Pavuma, fitness wise, is very fragile, man. He always gets injured in every series he plays. How can he play longer than Riza, Dean Alga, Rassi looks more fitter than Pavuma? It's true that he's been getting injuries, a lot of injuries, eh? That's very, very true. West Indies, did he get injured in the West Indies series? But there's been a couple of instances where he's been injured in very important situations for South Africa. Chatil says Shukri Conrad must be regretting for telling Alga isn't in the future plans now. The dude averages so well at home in last 3 years, and SA don't have one reliable opener currently. after him. Um, I think all of us would have expected something from Dean, that he would play with his heart on his sleeve in this particular match. Um, and I'm sure Coach Shukri Conrad would have known that too. But with the test matches being so far apart from each other and the planning having to start for the next generation to come in, it's very tricky to, like Coach Shukri Conrad said, to blood in young talent when you're playing such a little test matches, when the test matches are so far apart as well, months apart. So there's certain decisions that you have to make that are tough. And especially when we're sitting in a situation where we're having to send a second string team to New Zealand. Now, for me, that would have been the perfect scenario after New Zealand. Then maybe have a discussion with Dean. The discussions have happened, and whatever took place between the two of them, they came to the decision that they both landed on. And we're going to have to kind of respect that, regardless of what we wanted ultimately. Kani says we need 100 runs lead. Temba needs to come and bat. If not, we can't chase 200 with 10 players. Gaurav says, what's the update with Bavuma? He will come or not? He has come to anyhow this account. Don't know what you're saying. Um, just trying to see if there is any update on Bavuma in the chat. There hasn't necessarily been any update from Cricket South Africa regarding Timba. Siraj saying Berger and Bedingham of real fines for South African cricket. Ayanda says Khalid, I know Verreynne is your favorite, but he needs to realize that international cricket isn't 4-day series. That off-stump fluff will cost him. Yes, exactly. He does need to realize that. I don't know what happened in that moment and why that shot was played. It wasn't necessary at all. I feel that maybe there needs to be a little bit of a tone down when it comes to playing test cricket. He plays very freely at domestic cricket, and that's his natural game. But you can't do the same thing internationally with these quality bowlers. They are not going to give you freebies that you can just flick away like that with ease. Lawrence says Temba not coming out to bat is kinda telling. It is. Bedingham is proper quality. Thank goodness he wasn't lost to England. Shame he's 29, but he can play 6 to 7 years, says Shatil. Macmillan says Bedingham going to be our greatest run scorer, greater than Callis. Oh, hang on. We only play 5 tests in 1,000 years. uh, did he? Hey, Khalid, how are you? What your thoughts on Gibbs' comments? I did not see Gibbs' comments. So if you can throw it down here in the live chat, and now I'll see what he said. Lawrence says we need a good lead to completely put this game to bed. The wicket is starting to play much better. I don't see India bat as badly as they did the first innings. We will also bat last on an up and down wicket, 100%. I did give my views on that, on how I see the pitch deteriorating or changing, and how the sun will affect that. There's going to be a period, because there's enough moisture in the wicket. There's going to be a period where I feel this wicket is going to be easy to bat on, and I think that will be the first session tomorrow. I think then after lunch, it's going to be a little bit more up and down, uh, variant bounce, maybe cracks in the wicket, etc. And I think that's where we want India to be batting. I feel if we can get a nice, good, solid lead by lunch tomorrow, India can come back in a little bit more tricky conditions towards the end of the day and after lunch. And then on day 4, we need to try and wrap India up early and then go and chase, and then give ourselves enough time to go chase those runs. Khalid, I see Bedingham to be selected in ODIs as well. Could happen. John Duplessis is a real prospect in South African domestic area who deserves recognition. He's a proper genuine batter. He's scoring runs in domestic arena as well. He scored a century and 50 to versus India. We need him to go play the Division One though. Someone in Division One needs to pick him up. Chatil says, I have always said SA don't lack batting talent domestically. It's poor selections that lets them down. There's no surprise that most players who do well, even overseas, are South Africans. And that's where I feel we need to give Coach Shukri Conrad a lot of credit for identifying these talents and being brave enough to give them a chance. I think he's been very brave in making decisions with regards to selection. And I feel that we need to give him credit for that. um, 100%, because we've always been complaining about not the right players not getting opportunities, and making sure that Bedingham stays and plays and gets his debut for South Africa is fantastic, and we should all be very happy about that. Great that Bedingham got 50 on debut. He already scored over 6,000 first-class runs in domestic cricket before today. Another batsman with over 6,000 runs is Lewis de Bloy. Could he also play for SA? No, he's qualified to play for England. I think he's already qualified as a player to play for England. First session is crucial tomorrow, and I only know that because of the SA20. On the SA20 lists of players last season, behind his name it said England. So he's qualified as an English player. These talks of Markram moving to middle order are garbage. There are players breaking the door down in the middle order domestically. Markram should either open or get dropped. He's an opener. He must bat. He must open. There's no protecting anybody. He needs to open. And he'll come right. He'll the consistency will be found. I'm sure of it. Um, I think he is a very good batter, and he's been good for South Africa in Test cricket. A little bit more consistency, yes, is needed, but I think he'll come right with another good partnership with someone else that he can start building. I think that also helps him out a lot. Shuki needs to twist Alga's arm at least for the New Zealand tour. I would love him to stay for the New Zealand tour. I can't tell you why he keeps getting injured. I really can't. Um, David Bedingham does not play much T20 cricket for Durham and did not enter the SA20 draft. He is dedicated test player, and he could possibly play in the white ball ODI format as well. We don't know if Bavuma will bat tomorrow. We haven't gotten an update on that. TT says, I think it's good that we haven't got all out, because maybe Temba's health can improve overnight and might give us an easy 25 to 30 runs, which will be crucial. Hope for speedy recovery. If it is a full-on hamstring tear, he's out of the series. So yeah, I don't know. We haven't had an update yet. I have to wait for the update to know. Markram has 200s the last 5 years, but we have to look at the last year and how he's done in the last year recently, in his recent form. That's going to be important because we are taking his form over different coaches, different scenarios, different styles of play. I think we need to take it from over the last year or so, or even let's start looking at it now since Coach Shukri comes in, because I think that he might be able to give Aiden some advice and coaching, etc., to to take him to that consistency levels that we all know we can be. So I think the players do need a chance under the new coach. If the coach backs him, I will back him, and then we give them some time under the new coach, and then we can start saying they need to go or get dropped, etc. Markham got a pitch today, similar ball to what KG got Kohli with. I think he did get a pitch. Sometimes you have to admit when this person does get a good delivery, like David Bedingham did. Diego averages 47 at home in the last 4 years. What a loss. Sad thing is, man wanted to continue and coach didn't want him to. You couldn't buy experience and class from a supermarket. I don't know. I wouldn't make a bold statement about that specifically. Sapo says, yes, Bavume is injured, but he's a liability again in this test match. Ivan says, keep on doing the good job for the Protea and make India players work hard. Chatil says, only Bavume is experienced and performing. Markram is hot and cold, makes hay versus averages, was average attacks in tests. Need a good mix of experience and youth. Uh, Macmillan says, can't believe Man United lost last night. Oh, wait. What a comeback. You had to see me celebrate yesterday now, so I was sure for something else. Siraj Campbell, South Africa now only have 10 players now batting wise. According to Markram, according to me, Markram should bat middle order. Stroke playing like him will give advantage to team and as well as his own career. I think he's better as an opener in Test cricket, personally. Leclerc says David Bellingham looks like an aggressive batter, yet a batter who punishes the bad ball. 100% is. Very strong guy, plays an attacking brand. That's why Coach Shukri likes him. Sapu says, why are Bellingham and Berger only getting their debuts in their late 20s? Have they not been good enough? Okay, so let me give you some clarity on that. When Bellingham came through the system, we still had Faf du Plessis, AB de Villiers, Hashim Amla. They were still playing, I think, when Bellingham started coming through the system. So it would have been very hard to break into the team at that point. And then they weren't giving him chances SAA wise, which I was shocked by. I think that was one season after he had a great season in domestic cricket. Remember also, he went through a horrific injury where he was in a car accident. We did an exclusive with him on this channel as well. There's an exclusive in our latest magazine about David Bellingham. So go read that. It tells you his story and his accident that he went through. There was a period where he wasn't, he was most like he was looking at down the barrel of maybe an early retirement basically and stopping playing cricket altogether. Recovered brilliantly, got an opportunity at Boland and then moved to the Cobras and then started scoring runs. So his career is quite short because it started pretty late, you could say, got kick-started pretty late in his career. With Nandre Berger, a lot of injuries. Every season, I think that he's been at Western Province, he was injured almost every season that I've witnessed him play. So he never really ever got a full chance to play a full season for him to even be in the running for selection. So it was something that was something that we needed to look at when we think about why they haven't been selected. And this last season, Nandeberger was fantastic, and this season so far, and got his opportunity, and now he's playing for South Africa. So across all three formats, in 13 days, three debuts, three different formats. Historical moment for Nandeberger. Lauren says, I'm more looking at KP and Tony, Markram, or Kyle. Maybe more from Keegan. He's an experienced cricketer, but the next step for him is to score big runs. The talent is clearly there. Need him to score big hundreds. Need him to score big hundreds. We shouldn't risk playing Ngidi in the next test match, says Kani. Those 87 first class games Bellingham has played already has made the man sure of his technique and ability. None of that nervous energy. And that's the importance of playing a lot of domestic cricket. This is why I've been saying that our youngsters need to play four-day cricket. Because then we can, if our youngsters play four-day cricket, the earlier they play four-day cricket, the earlier we can blood them into international cricket. Lichle says, I think Tony will open the batting alongside Aiden after Algar retires. I agree with you. I think the same thing. Lorenzo says, serious question needs to ask of KP now. He's been consistently selected for 2 years straight, and yet to live up to expectations. This myth that he's young and inexperienced also. Who said he's young and inexperienced? He's not young and inexperienced anymore. I know you're not talking about me specifically, but I'm just saying I wonder who said that online, uh, on socials. He's not young and inexperienced. He's maybe inexperienced internationally, but he's not young anymore. He's played enough domestic cricket to try and understand his game. I think majority of the time he's been making bad calls with shot selections. He's also had a lot of disruptions with injuries internationally. Khalid, there's a real chance of ICC silverware at Lords in 2025 in the WTC final. That should be the focus. SH schedule is relatively easy compared to last time too. Lawrence says we need to understand the reason why Bellingham is only getting his opportunity now is because of the whole Kolpak and England situation. And in terms of Berger, he had a terrible injuries. No, I don't think it was the Kolpak England situation. That's why Bellingham hasn't played. Um, if you go look at the stats in his history of when he started playing for the Western Province, it was after when his injury happened, when he got in an accident, and then when he recovered, and then when he got his chance for the Cobras. I think it was only 3 years, 4 seasons ago before COVID. Um, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2016, 2017. And at that time, I think we still had a lot of experience in this team that was still playing for South Africa. And Bedingham kind of needed another season to go and play. And then he had a magnificent season and he wasn't getting call ups to SAAs. And then the whole England thing discussion started happening. Um, and then after that happened, the whole Kolpak thing disappeared, obviously, because there's no such thing as Kolpak players anymore. But it wasn't a Kolpak thing. It was more of him qualifying as a local um, to play for England, to actually play for England. Um, and then discussions were had obviously this season with David and Coach Shukri. And Coach Shukri actually saved us a magnificent player. Shukri Conrad should have made Dean Alger captain for the upcoming New Zealand tour, but decided that he will choose Neil Brandt as captain for New Zealand tour. That's really hurt Dean. I don't think he's made a full decision on who's going to be the 11 yet. That did give us an indication, but I think that decisions will still be made. Khalid, I don't know if you managed to have a listen at lunch for Pommy's interview. Very interesting how CSA is looking at the cost to reward ratio of the SA20 coming into the New Zealand series. Yeah. Hamza or Rickerton need to be looked at as KP looks good for a 20, then has a brain fart, chucks it away. Calvarena is talented, but he has no foot movement. He always relied on his hands. Aruna says we shouldn't have lost last 2 wickets. We actually gave away the wickets. Yeah, I agree. I've said that at the beginning. Lorenzo's a genuine question, Khalid. Why is CSA so secretive when it comes to Temba, when it comes to his injuries? But with any other player, they're quick to release updates. CSA must seriously work on their PR. I mean, I don't know. They were quite quick to tell us yesterday um, that he revealed the scans that reveal the left hamstring strain, and he will undergo daily medical evaluations to determine his participation in the match. And then we were told today on commentary, basically, that he has to come in bat after the number 5 batter loses his, or after the number 6 batter loses his wicket. And then that didn't happen. So we now are kind of left to guess. TT says, and how they plan to address young talent choosing to leave cricket to pursue other careers or aiming to play franchise cricket outside the country by interacting with the pipeline at school level. I didn't really listen to the interview, TT. I'm sorry about that. Do you come to know about those who keeps comments on Bavuma? I did not see the comments. Can someone maybe tell me in the live chat what he said? Real G says, disappointed in Kyle, but I disagree that he has to be more defensive. Quinny and AB won us test matches through aggression. I didn't say he needs to be more defensive in general. I'm saying that he needed to be more defensive today. In other games where the pitch is conducive for him to play his natural game, but by all means go ahead and do so. But in a situation where the pitch is a bit tricky to get your eye in initially, take your time. There's no need to play aggressively in those situations because that's what the wicket determines. The wicket determines how you play. That should always be the case. And we forget that. Too many people forget that. We take cricket for granted when it comes to conditions and reading conditions. Sam says Gibbs said our international players' fitness is really low, and coaches Rob and Shukri should consider the players' fitness while selecting in squad. He also said for India, Kohli introduces fitness for them. Dozorzi looked so assured as well, looking the real deal. DTC is ironic that the coach allows some players who are clearly unfit and overweight to play when he started off as a Proteas trainer in 2009. Gibbs wrote on his official X profile. Um, but the, who has been unfit and overweight that he allowed to play? Because they sent Magala back. Um, Timber in the World Cup, but that was a strange one. Timber in the World Cup. Carl will come. Carl will come good. He just needs another good score. I feel no worries with him at all. Never should have been dropped off to Australia. I think he needs now. Obviously, he needs an extended run. We shouldn't be too reactionary now and say he should be dropped. Bedingham should open with the Zorzi in ODIs, not Pavuma. Bedingham can attack in ODIs. Siraj, David Bedingham could be proper replacement of Rasif van der Dussen in the ODI setup. That is a high possibility. Shukri Conrad is best decision maker and he is brave and straightforward person, says Siraj. Lorenzo says, I'm not so much on Kyle's case as I am in KP, as Kyle haven't been back like they backed KP. KP has had loads of consistent opportunities already. Give these opportunities to Kyle and he'll perform. Waka says, hey, Khalid, bro, what an innings from Dean and from David Bedingham. Sam says, moving balls really problem for SA. Why coaches not focusing on improve on we lost semis because of moving ball struggle? It will come. They need some time to do so. There hasn't been much time for the new coaches really to actually work on things with players off without the pressures of like a tournament already happening on our doorstep. Bedingham can definitely be a force in ODI cricket as well. He can play that RVD role, but quicker. Guys, I know you. Are you guys watching the game now at the moment? Because I just assume that the game's done for the day. That bad light ended the day's play. Um, I don't think we. Yeah, stumps. Okay, cool. They did announce it 40 minutes ago, so I was right to this. Continue with this. Back Backtrack Sports says, how did we miss this? Miss what? Lichle says, I like the chat between Pommy and Bangwa and Enoch at lunch. Enoch says there will be a schools conference soon. Brilliant. Lorenzo says Rivaldo Munsami is another great talent out there. We kick to mention white and black African talents, yet tend to forget that there's loads of color talent players out there as well. There is. And Jefferson Pile, it's another top class player, in my opinion. Baxi Sports Markram has been mediocre player for a long time. Here's the proof. In his last 13 test series, averages per series 10, 40, 29, 11, 54, 56, 21, 12, 18, 12, 69, 5. He scored only in 3 of his last 13 series. Okay. But we also need to look at his recent form and how he's been doing. Because remember that under Coach Shukri, he might like he might be able to take his game to the next level. I don't know how you can question Markram after he has averaged 50 this last year. We also need to pick on form when it comes to certain situations. Is particularly Coach Shukri had to pick Markram based on his on pick players based on form, how they're doing domestically, etc., and then come up with the best squad that he can possibly coach. And at the moment, I think that we need to give our coaches and Coach Shukri time with the new players and give them a chance to develop under him as well, because a lot of them are not like old. A lot of them are not old actually. They have still room for development and learning. So they're not young either, but there are a couple of things that can be added to their games and tweaks, I feel. So I think we need to give Coach Shukri some time to work with these players and see how he can improve them. Um, People questioning Markinov averaging 50 this year, rather wild. You all want to replace everyone in this lineup. Bellingham signed a Kolpak. No, he didn't sign a Kolpak. You can only sign a Kolpak if um, you can only sign a Kolpak if you have played for your national side. You sign the Kolpak is to sign your rights away for playing for your country once you've already registered to play for your country. So, for example, if you've played a certain amount of tests or a certain amount of ODIs or a certain amount of T20s, you sign a Kolpak deal to give up your rights to play for your country. Bedingham was going to be was going to sign well, he had an ancestral visa, from my understanding, and he under the rules you need to be in the country or have lived in the country for a certain amount of years to qualify as a citizen, and then you are considered a citizen of England and as a local player, and then you can play for England. So he was trying to get registered to be an English player. That's what happened with Bedingham. Um, Coaches should now main focus on improving batters' moving ball game plan. Yes, they should work on that. Bedingham is just 28, 29 years of age. He's still young. Backstreet Sports, Mark Remy hasn't scored a 50 in his last 10 international innings. His average in both ODI and Tests are also not near 40. We're not questioning Andy Markham, but he needs to bat in the middle order. He will be more beneficial. I don't like that idea. Um, Markram is the most irresponsible batsman, says Batrack Sports. She's ignoring Bellingham and Colin Ackerman, even in South Africa A team. We're doing good. That's why Colin Ackerman chose Netherlands. Bro, they were way better batters than Colin Ackerman in that era. I mean, let's just be honest about certain things. Markram has batted in the middle order before, and he scored was awful. And look at Colin Ackerman's playing for the Netherlands anyway. He's not like he's like the star player and hitting runs every single week. Markram has batted in the middle order before, and his record was awful. His record opening is by far better. We get a couple of more last few comments. Neil Brandt, where this guy came from, and will he be captain straight away? Seriously, Aiden will be captain in New Zealand series? No, Aiden can't, because Aiden's not going to be in the New Zealand series. Aditya, where have you been? The SA20 players are not going to be available for those series. I didn't know either when I saw Gibbs' comments. Seems he woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. We called off an half hour game is done for today. Game was done to 5:30. Yeah, I thought so. But sometimes, they come on for bad light and then they wait and then they go back on. Sometimes that happens. Let me just get a couple of last chats over here. Macmillan says Hashim Amla on comms is fantastic. He is. He even made differences to Wolverine and WWE. I was like, what's going on here? He's like switching music and he's like, Dean Alga's takes blows to the bottom hand. He's almost like Wolverine because he keeps just recovering. I'm like, what's going on here? Hamza, Rickleton, and Richards failed again for SIA today. For Kolpak, you only need to play one test match. Well, Kolpak doesn't exist anymore. What happened to Sarel Irvia? He's playing in domestic cricket. Backstreet Sport, check Aidan Markham's recent World Cup performance. Beddingham's position in county cricket is complicated. Initially, he was able to play under an ancestral visa as a non overseas player, but after Brexit, he had to become an overseas player. Um, Mike Hussey, but he was trying to qualify to play for England. That's what that was. You could have played certain amount of if you a certain amount of years in the country, you can be classified as a citizen and qualify to play for England, and that's what he was trying to register for. Lorenzo Maikasi made his debut at 30 years old and is in Aussie legend to the blue. So the blueprint is definitely there for Bedingham. Interesting point. Aditya, thanks for asking, Khalid. I'm good. Hope you are fine too. Well, Aiden captain in the second test versus New Zealand. No, they missed the whole test series. People hating on Markram, don't forget that he got a good ball. Same as Cody. Go and check his record against West Indies. Exactly. Did SAA play today? Score perhaps Khalid? Yeah, SAA played today as well. It was a delayed start. That's why a lot of people don't really know about the game. The rain has been causing crap in that game, hectically. So South Africa ended on 164 for 7 when Stumps was called. And it hasn't really been a great day for the batters. Joshua Riches went out for 13. Matthew Preski went out for 36. Zubair Ramza was a run out for 20. Kyle Zondo got a duck. Ryan Rickleton got 6. Sinitemek Lashile went out for 34. Bayer Swanepoel went out for 10. Bjorn Fortuin is at the wicket now with Duana Olivier on 12 and 17 respectively. Avesh Khan took 3 for 36. So he's been like the main bowler and destroyer there for India A. So that's the score currently. It's not going very well there. But it's going to be a interesting game because obviously it's almost like a 4-day game now. I mean a 3-day game now. So they're going to have to like try and score quickly as well. To get as much runs if they want to try to get a result, etc. Even though they all took their time to get going. Zubair Ramza was an unfortunate run out. Janssen needs to clap a 70 or 30 balls tomorrow. Yeah, we need one of those, eh? We need one of those. CSA luck that David Benjamin came back and shown why he shouldn't have been ignored in favor of guys like Zondo. Chatil says KG Lara needs to get his maiden 100 tomorrow. We have to get a lead of 70 plus. Yeah, I think a 100 lead would be brilliant. If Bavuma misses the rest of the series, will Stubbs replace him? Most likely, yes. Lorenzo put Kyle, but Kyle played 14 tests and KP 11. They have the same average. Stop being a hypocrite, says Backtrack Sports. Khalid, will Bavuma bat? Not to be rude, but why is Zonda still playing SSA? It's a fair question. Markram is all class. Khalid Bedingham reminds me of Markram. Beddingham's a class batter. I'm very happy that he's playing for South Africa again. No, not again, but he's playing for South Africa and he got his opportunity. Very, very happy about that. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Please don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos. Please, very important that you do so. We are on the road to 5,000 subscribers on the channel. So please help us get there quicker. Also, subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. Link is on the screen and in the description. Khalid, when is SS next series after New Zealand series, excluding T20 World Cup? I'm not actually sure. I won't be able to tell you that. Khalid did not comment on Markram that big players. I don't know where that is, Aditya. Oh, yeah. Markram is a big tournament player, guys. 2021 T20 World Cup, 2023 ODI World Cup, and the 2022 T20 World Cup game against India. I don't know why people are hating on Aiden as much as they do. Understand that he needs to get more consistency. That's 100% correct, and he does need to do so. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in, and I'll see you guys again tomorrow with another review show. Stay safe, enjoy the rest of your evening, and peace out.